Welcome to the Planning Board, Tuesday, January 6, 2026. We have a pretty good agenda tonight. Why don't we go over the first order of business, minutes of the last meeting?
Motion to accept as, motion to sign as submitted.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, 4, I'm sorry. A second order of business. We've got a 81P plan at 3 Colonial Road.
Yes, sir. So this is, this was spotted by the building department, and there was an encroachment on the property, so the landowners worked out a deal so that the encroachment no longer exists. That's all this is. The strip along the right side of the building is not to be considered a buildable lot, but will be merged with number 3 as part of this.
Strange little strip.
Can that be done without getting a variance? I mean, I understand you're making so you're eliminating the encroachment, but but the house is still in violation of the side yard setback.
Right.
You're decreasing the violation, but I just,
So long as you're not making it more non-conforming, this plan doesn't necessarily mean it conforms with any zoning requirements. It's right on there. So the A&R can be done, and if he needs anything else, or he has to file a building permit or something, he might need a variance. So that's for him to determine. But this, it's right on there.
Wish I had a Mylar in front of me.
This plan is designed in compliance with all, yeah, so there you go.
It's an existing dwelling, so it's
Right.
therefore right, we're moving the property line.
yeah, you're making the nonconformity less.
Right.
I'm not saying
Right,
it's
yeah,
not a good
yeah.
idea, I'm
Two-
just,
2 feet, right,
I-
the corner.
right, you still don't
Yeah.
have a conforming structure,
Right,
that's all. I don't know enough about A&R law
Right.
to be able to tell you, I just thought I'd bring up the question, because I'm not sure of the answer myself.
The
Well,
A&R is okay,
it's-
he
it's-
still has a non-conforming
It's
structure.
it's an existing non-conforming, I mean, it is legal, well, it isn't legal in a certain sense, but 3 Colonial would have been built over the point in time when anybody could have said anything, so there's nothing making it, I guess, making it such that at least all the building is within the lot, considering they had a 0-yard setback before.
Negative.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to find the bylaw because some of it's ringing a bell, but I'm almost there.
Well, it would actually be state law as to.
Right.
I just don't know that you can sign an A&R when you're effectively creating a lot with a non-conforming structure on it. I think, and again, I could be
So long as we're
wrong.
not making it more non-conforming, this can be done. So this is less non-conforming, it can. That's my understanding. I have any issues with this. I recommend endorsement.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
I guess we should just confirm. I have no problem approving it, subject to just talking to town council and making sure that it's okay, because do we have to sign these tonight? Or can,
The application came in on Wednesday last week, stamped in. Yeah, we should be good. If we want to take it to the next meeting, we should have time. But
I don't know if you voted
I think we need
to
to,
allow
so-
Matt to sign 81Ps because Larry had taken himself off.
yeah, Larry did.
Larry did submit my signature to the registry for endorsement of these things, so I could verify and then sign it.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd just make a motion that we approve, subject to the town planner talking to town council about,
Okay.
I don't know, because,
The bylaw doesn't address it. It's the first paragraph talks about non-conforming uses and structures, but it simply says that they may be continued, subject to the following conditions. But the rest of the paragraphs really relate to uses.
Yeah.
Or if the structure has been was burned or whatever and needs to be restored, it talks about that. But other than that, it talks about extensions of the non-conforming structure, and then it
wouldn't
goes
be-
into uses. Yeah, it doesn't really
Yeah, it wouldn't
address
be in
the
the
issue
bylaw.
at hand.
It would be state law as to whether an 81
Right.
Yeah,
is allowed, when you still have a non-conforming use that has never gotten effectively, this has never gotten a variance.
Variance.
right.
I know, like, the reason I bring it up at all is because that's one of the big issues when the surveyors are creating, if you're splitting a lot, you need to make sure that wherever you put the lot line doesn't create a violation with the existing structure.
Yeah, that would be,
That's clear as-
Yeah, that's
Right,
clear.
because
This
you're
one, when it
creating-
already has, it's an existing non-conforming use that's been there for more than 10 years.
Right.
I'm not sure that it's the same thing, because it already has, the fact that it's on,
The
part of
other-
it was in a different property line. If it wasn't that, I'd say it wouldn't be an issue at all, but that's the only thing that bothers me.
And logically, I hope the answer to Ms. Muni's question is that it doesn't need a variance. I hope it doesn't, because again, they're
Right.
making it better.
Right,
But
I agree.
it might. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Subdivision control, as long as we put a statement on here that says the above endorsement is not determination of conformance with zoning regulations. It's right on there, right under the signature. This is subdivision
Yeah.
control. It doesn't have anything to do with zoning at this time. So this can be signed, in my opinion.
Gentlemen,
Okay, it's a pleasure.
I'm not sure what to do.
Well, I
think it's a
mean,
valid
just to
question.
just to verify with town council, I
Okay.
mean, Matt can sign it afterwards. It's not
Okay.
that big a deal. So I'd stay with my motion and just go that way, and it can be signed once he talks to Brian.
Would you
Second on
make
that?
a motion?
Motion to have Matt sign the 81P, subject to discussion with town council as to the issue of the creation of a nonconformance, whether it needs any further.
And then not part
I
of.
mean, I guess what I'm sort of interested in, I understand what you're saying, Matt, I'm also more interested in, should he go back to zoning immediately anyways, once this is approved, once the plan is
Right, which
signed?
Yeah, if
part-
he's
which
putting
is the
on an
part of
addition or
it?
whatever it is he needs to do.
Well, he definitely
yeah.
would have to at that
You would
point,
need
yeah.
You would need a variance, absolutely.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye. 4. Okay, and the next on the agenda, we have the Old Cedar Court self-storage facility. That's a continuation from December 16th, I believe.
Floor? Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, all. For the record, my name is Michael Dryden, Senior Project Manager with Allen Engineering. As mentioned, we were here last on December 16th, at which time I presented a list of proposed amendments to the approved plan that was approved back in 2023. I think generally speaking, the board was receptive. They had some concerns. And it might be helpful for me to just walk through this list very quickly, just to recap what was discussed at the last meeting. And I won't go into all the same detail, just quickly go through the list. We talked about decreasing the building height by about 33%. The building footprint would increase slightly by about 11%. The building square footage would increase about 10 to 11%. The drive-in feature on the building would be eliminated, and the floor drains and tight tank that's associated with that would be removed. The loading, sort of the formal loading area, if you will, in the back of the building, a raised dock would be eliminated. It's not needed. That afforded us to reduce the impervious area behind the building, change the riprap slope from a 1-to-1 to a 2-to-1. We talked extensively about security fencing, and we understand clearly that the board wants and conditioned the approval to include gates and security fencing, so that's off the table, obviously. The one thing I did want to just sort of continue on that discussion was the approved plan. The fencing surrounded the entire facility, including the detention basin, and I thought I heard a couple of board members question the fencing around the detention basin. So we would be perfectly happy providing security fencing around the building, but eliminating the fencing around the detention basin. We can certainly circle back to that. Lighting was discussed, removing the freestanding light poles, providing wall-mounted fixtures, adding trash storage, a 10 by 10 with a fence enclosure, a slight relocation of the transformer, and a reduction in parking. I think we had 13 spaces. We only required to have 4. If that is, let me just check that number. I don't want to misstate anything. Yep. We provided 13. We're only required to have 4, so we would have about 7 spaces, so we would still far exceed what's required under zoning. So after some lengthy discussion, the board decided that they'd like to have input from town officials, most notably the fire department and the water department. So we since have received correspondence from both, starting with the fire department, a letter dated December 23rd. There are 3 items in this letter. Fire department is okay with the slight reduction of the aisle width around the building as long as 27 feet is maintained. We can certainly do that. Number 2 is regarding the propane storage. So it says propane storage was not proposed on the initial plans. That's actually incorrect. The propane has been proposed all along and was part of the, not only the approved site plan, but the approved sewage disposal, the pump station that was also submitted for approval. But nonetheless, he just simply states that storage shall be in accordance with all applicable storage codes for propane, which we certainly understand. And then again, number 3 is the entry gates. The mechanism for securing those gates and operating those gates was discussed, and the fire department mentions the Knox Rapid Access System. And of course, we'll coordinate closely with the fire department to make sure that that system that is in place is to their satisfaction. So that's the fire department letter. And then the water department letter is essentially, as I reviewed the correspondence that we received back in 2023, the letter is essentially the exact same letter. These letters are undated, by the way. So it appears that the water company just sort of reissued that same letter that they had issued in 2023. The only difference that I did notice was, you see in red on the letter, they mentioned diesel fuel storage, and at one point we had potentially discussed replacing propane with diesel. I think that's why he reissued this and made that bold and red. We understand that there's going to be no diesel storage on the site. It will remain propane as it was approved. But other than that, these are the same exact comments that we had gone through in 2023, some of which were incorporated into the conditions, others weren't. So essentially, other than that one issue with the diesel fuel storage, there's no new comments from the water department. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
And you don't have a problem complying with the monitoring of the water type of stuff?
Actually, that was not made as a condition. We had discussed that in length back in 2023.
Okay.
Monitoring what water?
Monitoring the
Real-time monitoring.
discharging.
Monitoring wells.
Monitoring wells.
We have monitoring wells, and we agreed to a monitoring program, but this is a real-time thing that we,
Correct.
I went
Okay,
back and
yes.
looked at my notes.
Yes.
And it was just logistically, what is, I don't want to say it's not possible, but it's very difficult to do. And again, we had discussion with the board at that time, and it was not made a condition of the permit.
Yeah, so they still have, the conditions of the approval, both here and conservation, have a requirement for, I think, yearly testing.
Correct. Or maybe 6 months? I forget
That's what I'm
exactly.
looking for right now, yeah.
Periodic.
I think we talked about doing more than a year at one point, but anyway, so there is going to be testing to make sure that there's nothing coming from the facility.
Who's responsible to do that, though?
They're responsible,
owner.
and they have
Okay,
to,
perfect.
they have to submit it to,
So, yeah.
at least to, I know for, they have to submit it to my office for conservation. I don't know where we said it needed to go for this.
So it's an annual sampling between March 1st and April 30th. Westerly monitoring well.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Please.
At some point, I wouldn't mind discussing how the town planner and town engineer and the Conservation Commission track things like this, like what kind of methodology is used to be sure that all the follow-up happens. Having been in seats like yours in the past, that can be a tricky, you know. We can talk about it offline if you
It
want.
is tricky, and
Yeah.
yes, we can.
Yeah.
I don't think,
It's just so many
Yeah.
of these things that we're stipulating be followed up on are really important that they are followed up on, and yet having a let's say, fail-safe system of making sure all of those follow-ups happen
Actually-
is not easy.
I think in this particular case, it has to go to the water department as well.
Adding to the complications.
Well, the water department is going to make sure that they know, because
It says-
it's
Yeah,
their.
It does say that,
Yeah.
directly to the water department.
Yes.
Yep.
That's,
Yeah.
so,
But we've got a responsibility, the board does, to make sure that that
understood.
follow-up happens. Yeah.
Understood, but the primary reason for the monitoring is the fact that it's directly adjacent to the water supply.
They're
So
strongly motivated.
Right. I can also tell you that the applicant's not interested in being non-compliant with the So, I think there's a lot of forces that are going to make sure that this.
There's a lot of things at
happens.
play here that help make sure it happens, but
I'd have.
I'd still like to understand the system.
Yeah, I have for the conservation, I do have another instance that I actually permitted from the other side. So when I got here, it was one of the first things I asked about was where these reports were.
Where the
And
safeguards
they were doing it, so, generally, I think people do try to comply.
I think so. It certainly is in their best interest. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Chris, anything?
Just quick question. Can you go a little bit more over the propane storage on your side of?
Sure. So we have a sewage pump station, and we're required to have a backup power source. So generally, your options are diesel fuel, which obviously we know is off the table, and then, in this case, subsurface propane tank.
Okay.
So that's what we're proposing. And then the fire department just wanted to make sure that it's installed in accordance with code, which, of course, we have to do.
Gotcha. Okay. And where, that location is going to be where now? I guess I'm missing that, so I apologize.
It's on the second page.
Ah, that's why.
It's on the grade, I think it's C4. Oh, you have it there.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
he
So-
strongly preferred below grade propane because. Yeah, the fire chief strongly preferred below ground propane just because it's less likely to get hit.
Damaged?
Yeah, hit by a car or whatever, so, yeah.
No, great.
So what you see on there is eliminated.
Yes.
That was discussed at one
That's-
point.
right.
As we talked about on the 16th, what we're going to do, based on what you tell me this evening, is we're going to issue a revised set of drawings
Okay.
that capture all of these things, and your comments, obviously, on the fencing will be addressed. Where it says eliminate propane, that'll be addressed, and you'll get a set of drawings for your records, such that when we do an as-built, you'll have a set of documents to compare the as-built to.
Which is very helpful for me.
I think it just protects everybody.
It does.
It's on the record, this is what we all discussed and agreed to, and
Joe, do you have any? What's the pleasure?
I guess the only thing is the fence, I mean, to me, the fencing around the detention basin.
thank you for bringing that up.
Where are we with those now? Have we been fencing?
So in this case, so we haven't been fencing detention basins. So when that came up at the last meeting, it was because they were eliminating the rest of the fencing, but they were proposing to leave the fencing around the detention basin. If they were eliminating all the rest of the fencing, I don't think there was any reason to require the fencing around the detention system. However, since they're going to have fencing around, I want to make sure, it doesn't matter too much to me whether or not they have the fencing go around the detention basin, but there absolutely needs to be easy access from, there needs to be a gate that will allow equipment out of
Understood.
the facility into the detention area so that it can be maintained.
That makes perfect sense. From the driveway area, that lower left corner of the building, we're happy to put a gate right there, a 10-foot wide gate,
12.
12-foot wide gate. Done.
So that fence, I'm sorry, it's going to be brought in, but should still include the snow storage area, correct? It's going to be in between the
Yes.
basin and the snow storage area.
Yeah, we'll leave a space between the driveway curbing and the fence so the snow storage can still be maintained where it is proposed, where it was proposed.
Okay, it's the pleasure of the board.
One more question, if you don't mind. So just for a matter of the formality of it all, we're looking to move forward with a special permit tonight, and then we will look towards another set of prints to come for approval?
They're looking for you to consider this a minor.
Right.
Yeah, looking for
I
a
just-
motion to declare these minor amendments to the special permit, so they can then proceed with providing us the prints that they've, I'll provide a letter that kind of encapsulates all this.
Yeah.
So we have it for our record, they'll
Yeah.
provide a set of plans, and then when it's all built, we'll get an as-built that matches it.
Yeah, because usually we approve, full set of plans with minor changes to it. So I
Right.
guess this is a little bit different from
Yeah, just because it's a
from the
special
norm.
permit, so we
I
have
know.
to declare it minor, so they don't have to
Right.
come back for a public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, my only issue with coming back besides the print is there any change to the narrative that was written as to the things that we asked for that changes based on if we do this? At one point in time, we were talking about the fencing. That fencing is actually written into into the thing. There were other things in there, and I don't remember as part of our conversation. If that is the case, I'd as part of submitting the plans, I'd also like to see what that document looks like in that document,
Yeah, I
and
think
make sure we're comfortable that nothing changed in that.
that didn't reference the conditions didn't reference the tight tank, correct?
Correct. Right, there's a couple of things at play. The tight tank would be one of them.
Right.
We were required, and the permit obviously references the plans, which show a tight tank, so.
Right. But
That's just an example.
That's not, if that was specific, like.
Shall have a tight tank.
If it specifically said, it was required to have whatever,
Right.
I don't think that document specifies anything about the tight tank.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think to your,
It does about the fence.
Yes.
But that fence
Yeah, see, it's in
is
the back.
being remained.
Yeah. No, yes, I'm just referring to Martha. Martha was saying, yes, that's what I'm referring to.
Sorry.
There's the
No, I'm
conditions.
sorry, I shouldn't be talking offline separate from the,
So I don't think there's anything else, but certainly Matt
Yeah,
Matt and I can go through it
Yeah, we
again.
need to go through that just to make sure, because I want to make sure that we don't have a decision that's sitting out there that actually said something.
contradicts
Yes.
what we're doing. Right, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. I don't think there is, but, so the fencing clearly is written into the permit, but I don't think it says
Yeah, I don't-
anywhere
yeah, I
that the
don't think
fencing
there is,
needs
no.
to go around the
No.
basin. It's really for security
Right, it
purposes.
was a security issue, I'm pretty
Right.
sure, so that isn't the one, but there may be something else that's sitting there that I just want to make sure that there isn't something else in there, that's all.
According to the decision, it looks like all of these can be complied with. We're not amending any of these conditions. This is what I'm seeing.
But we'll double check. And if,
I'd rather us come in knowing we're going to be, if we need to check, that means we should probably continue in my eyes. I mean, we're trying to move forward with
Well, I think
something,
they-
but with some questions though to it, right? We're not sure, we're not 100%, right? So let's check, let's let's dot i's and cross t's in my
If
eyes.
you were issuing a new permit,
so-
if you were issuing a new permit, I would probably agree with you, but you're not. You're
I know
just,
we're, yeah.
Yeah, we're just saying this is a minor change.
you're just considering these minor changes.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, we can say what's been presented to us is still a minor change. It's both to us, but also the applicant, because he still needs to meet those special
Exactly.
provisions that
That's
are
what I
in there. So if there isn't, then he can't meet it anyway. So we can
gonna
say,
have
yes,
to come
what's been
back.
presented to us is
saying, yeah.
minor, but he's gonna have to come back.
I want, yes, with that, I want to make sure that everything's tied together, right? That there can't be any gaps, that although the previous special permit had these conditions, I want to ensure that all of these conditions go forward with this new, with this, you know, with the special permit. It's, so if that is reading through this or referencing this during the motion time, I think that's important.
So this special permit's recorded at the registry, it's legit. Like, all the conditions here are gonna be complied with, one way or the other, and we haven't changed any with these minor amendments here this evening.
Yeah.
So, Matt, I'm sorry, so you're asserting that the changes we're acting on tonight will not contradict any of the
Correct.
provisions of the special permit
Correct.
granted in '23?
Yes.
I
You
concur.
concur? Thank you. That's the word I was going to use.
Thank you for asking that question, Martha.
So does that make your concerns semi-moot?
Semi-moot, yes. Yes.
I mean, we could just run through them very quickly, right, in the permit. if-
That's
if
fine.
that
I just
makes
want to
sense.
make sure that it's tied to. We can
Yeah,
talk
I
about
agree.
it all day long.
I agree.
But I just want to make sure that these conditions of this special permit is tied to the plans, and like I said, I understand why we're not reviewing
does
the
it
entire.
To be honest,
Does
to
it
be honest,
reference?
Chris, we'd be better off being moot to the point to a certain extent.
Yes,
We're considering these changes minor. That doesn't change anything that's in that special permit document. That's the legal
Yeah, right.
document.
Yeah, right.
So they have no, so if it isn't, that's on them at that point. Us going through it and saying, yeah, we don't think it, is actually puts it back to us to a certain extent. We're probably,
I want to make sure it's tied to it, right? Yeah, I don't.
well, it still is, because we're not,
recorded.
we're not changing, it's the recorded document. The fact that we're saying what they're presenting to us now is a minor change means that everything else that was still there still needs to be met. We didn't change any of that stuff.
The example would have been the fencing that we wanted to eliminate.
Right.
That would have been a violation of this permit.
Exactly.
So that's,
Okay.
or require an amendment to the permit, I should say.
And I want to
Yeah, if that were specified in the
Right,
document.
exactly.
and there was nothing, and just again.
No,
to-
it just said there needed to be fencing with security.
Nothing in regards to the change from the diesel backup generator to the propane.
It was never,
That wasn't
it was
in there.
never a
Same, just-
diesel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It was always propane.
Oh, okay.
They, for a split second, thought they might want to change it to diesel, but they
that was a-
changed their mind back.
Quite honestly, that was a miscommunication on my part with my client. They wanted to eliminate the propane, and I thought that meant diesel.
Oh, right.
But there was a misunderstanding. They really fully understand that we have to have a backup power system, so we ended up back at propane where we should be. So
All right.
that's sort of what happened there, so.
Make a motion that we consider the changes supplied to us as minor changes, and that the applicant will provide new plans showing the changes as indicated to us as part of the process moving forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
With one abstention, 3-1.
Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Special permit for road thing? Don't worry about it, that's where I was
Because
going.
it's an amendment to it's not really an approval.
Right.
Just wondering, because a special permit normally,
Takes 4 votes.
can we amend, or can we say it's minor just with the majority of the board?
Yeah, it's not,
Yes.
a-
I think you can.
I'm going with, I think
I think so too, but
yeah.
We double check. Yeah, we can double check and if necessary.
Matt, if you
we can
you
vote on
understand
it.
the question?
It'd be different if we were again trying to.
It's not the public hearing.
Absolutely. If you were,
Yeah, no,
if you
that
were
would-
making an amendment, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I agree. It just might not hurt to check, but I do concur, there we are again, with 4 votes not being required.
If it was
for
an
the
open
action
public hearing, I 100% agree it should be a
Right.
supermajority, but it isn't, so we're okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
tonight. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we've got the 40 Cape Road. This is an amendment waiver of the site plan review.
Is that Stanley or Yeti? Yeti. Yeah, it goes down the Cape.
But still, it won't cool.
Oh, crap.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. Seems like.
Hi, everyone. Adam Hunt with Gary and Hellman on behalf of the client.
It's way down below it.
Since the last hearing, we've made several revisions based on comments from the board. We provided snow storage area here. Based on talks with the ZBA, we've removed these 3 spaces for vehicle display to provide the snow storage. And also, I want to apologize for any confusion between the ZBA approved plan. Initially, that showed 11 spaces for the parking requirement. It was revised for the planning board submittal to be 14. So that would be why there was 15 display spaces listed on, excuse me, the ZBA approved plan, which was reduced down to 12 with the planning board submittal, which is now down to 9 with the snow storage area. The other revisions we made were removing the fence and paved area from the right-of-way and providing a dumpster area there. We're also providing signage for the vehicle display areas. I think, yeah, we have six signs. Sorry. 4 signs. Apologize. 3 signs, 1 for each area of the 3 spaces. I think what the comments were. Also, it was stated there was floor drains in the building. We just wanted to confirm, and we have confirmed with the client that they do, floor drains do exist within the building.
And there's a oil,
Tight tank?
there's a tight tank in there, yes. That's maintained, one of the few, I'm sure.
And I think that was pretty much it. Yep, paving, signage, no storage, and remove those display spaces. That was pretty much it. I'll take any questions.
So this, just for reference, they had numbered spaces, and in the special permit, it says that spaces 1, 2, and 3, or whatever it was, I can confirm, I checked that very next day, where the snow storage is shown on this plan, is where those spaces were numbered by the zoning board at the meeting, so. I think this complies with the zoning board plan.
Right, our concern at the last meeting was, are we losing parking spaces?
Right.
But it turns out we're losing 3 display spaces.
Correct.
So we don't lose out on the minimum parking.
Which was kind of the point of,
Right.
Is there a wall where the dumpster pad is?
A walkway?
No,
No.
Cortlandt Street, doesn't Cortlandt Street sit above this? I'm just wondering how.
It does, but I believe it's just sloped. The reason I say that is because there were issues with the water from Cortlandt Street, not necessarily going onto this property, but the adjacent property. And so I inspected it quite a bit along there. But I can double check on good old Google. What's this address?
40 Kingsway.
It's funny, it actually put me on Cortlandt Street.
Probably just as easy to see it on Cortlandt Street.
Except for the vegetation, but I can see it's all, I mean, I can see the mulch.
I'm just more worried, I'm wondering.
It's basically at the same level as the street.
No, it's not, no.
I thought Cortlandt was up a little bit
Cortlandt
higher.
is up higher. It did the same thing to you. I gotta make it go back to,
Can't be
I
same.
don't want to be on Cortlandt Street, I want to be on,
I mean, I guess, you can't, considering the pad goes into the town goes into the right-of-way now, I guess it's,
I'm sorry, the what does?
Doesn't.
Oh, the pad.
the existing pad is in the town right-of-way.
Slopes a little bit, but you can see the top of the fence isn't sloped.
Yeah.
And so they're.
I guess, what was your concern?
I was just surprised that I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything going on in there that I couldn't fathom what it was, because I actually thought Cortlandt was probably higher than maybe it actually is. It maybe not as high as I thought it was
not as high in that.
in that area.
Further down this way, it's much higher.
Are you okay then?
Yep.
It's the pleasure of the board.
There's another one about here.
Chris, do you have any more?
No, I do not. Nope.
Nothing?
No.
Anything else? Okay. Pleasure of the board.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan as presented,
Amended,
or as amended.
amended site plan.
Amended site plan as,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, the next on the agenda is the amendment waiver of the site plan review, 336 Main Street. This one was continued from January 20th. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
It's a request.
It's, okay, there's a request
Make a
to...
motion, we continue to January 20th.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
yes.
Aye,
Whipping through this.
great.
Okay.
Okay, now we want to, item number 6, talk about the fee schedule.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry to go back to
Yeah.
our motion for Cape Road. Are we adding standard conditions to that? Our 4 standard conditions?
what's it?
Wait,
Or 3?
It's just amended, so.
Conditions 2, 3, and 4, perhaps?
Should, yeah.
I don't know if you can do that after you already voted on it, but.
And you can vote, you can amend your motion. The applicant's engineer is still here.
Okay.
Site plan approval.
So since I,
Chris?
yeah, I was gonna say, since I was the one that did the original motion, yeah, I'll just amend my motion to include our standard site plan approval on our standard conditions dated October 2025.
Second.
yeah, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
I'll read them out just so you have them.
You know what they
It's
are?
construction hours. It's abiding by approvals and conditions of state agencies, town boards, departments, commissions, develop in accordance with the approved plan, submit an as-built plan once it's completed, and town engineer, planning board agent may enter the property during construction. Standard stuff. Just want you to know what those are.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Why don't we discuss the fee schedule? Last amended in 2013.
That's
Right. So,
I went over this pretty thoroughly myself, and as I'm sure all the members did, and I had a couple of questions. Can I just jump in here now? Under modification of plan. Let me see if I can figure out my own notes. Should it stipulate legal fees if required?
what do you
Instead
mean?
of none?
Which one are we talking about?
Modification of a subdivision plan? Would there be, there could be circumstances in which a legal,
Yeah, I mean, if you modify a subdivision, the only thing, I guess, that.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, legal ad. That's what I meant, not legal fees, legal ad.
Oh, okay.
I see. Since that's on, yeah, I guess. Well,
Just stipulating,
I guess it's going to depend on whether or not we consider it a minor or a major modification. Right? If it's major, they got to go back through definitive and start the whole process again. But if it's minor,
Yeah, there is no
I guess we
legal-
should differentiate that.
Well, I think it almost goes without saying, if you go back to the, it's the resubmittal of a definitive plan at that point.
Yeah, once you
If
start
it's-
changing
Yeah.
lot lines, that's the problem.
yeah. Yeah, just a thought, if you can think of, if I could form a sentence,
No,
it
you
would
can-
sound something like,
can change lot
if you
lines.
are confident that if a legal notice
Yeah,
is
you can change the
required,
lot
it
line.
actually is,
No, you can't. So once your
Not
definitive
minor.
plan's recorded, your lot lines are recorded.
Right.
Once you start changing those, you need to come back for a formal
with
modification.
a,
Not
right.
for, not for the subdivision. You can come back with an 81P.
True.
Depending on if they're
If you-
conforming or not.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
yeah, and most of the time they come back before there's any building even on them. Not that we're ever gonna have another one again.
Maybe you could just say none, parentheses, legal,
That's not true.
legal advertisement if required, or something like that.
Okay.
Legal ad cost if required. It does seem pretty unlikely, but we don't want to get stuck with the ad. Belt and suspenders.
I would just eliminate the,
None.
it says none. I would just eliminate none. But
No,
whatever.
no, that's what we are now.
None?
No, I'm saying, right, for, if we,
Recommendation is 200 per lot, per new lot, plus $500. So it would be $500 plus 200 per new lot, plus any legal ad costs if necessary, or something like that,
Yeah.
if required.
Okay.
But I don't think,
I can have that.
It could be like a footnote, though, right? Because
Yeah, I
it
can
applies
add
to
that.
others.
That's easy to do. I can add that. That's no problem. Just adding it right to the fee schedule here under definitive, so, okay.
how, so what is it for an 81P if you're adding a new lot?
Currently, it's 150 plus 100 per each new lot.
So if they do, what's the difference between modifying the subdivision to include new lots versus modifying it to, through an 81P to get an additional lot?
Until we get the actual modification, we're not gonna know if they're changing lots, or they're changing road, or they're changing infrastructure, changing the stormwater basin.
Yeah, so a modification of, but a modification of a subdivision,
They're adding lots.
it does, that is an 81P. That is not, if they're changing the roadway,
Right.
then
you're
yes,
modifying the
they're
subdivision.
modifying the subdivision, but the lots themselves aren't,
What the subdivision law is about?
exactly.
So the subdivision law means, I mean, we could approve lots that technically are not in zoning compliance. We don't, but we could. So if they come back and they want to change the lots to be that same size that's under zoning compliance, then they need to do an amendment. They can't do an 81P, right? So, but it's neither here nor there. Until we get one, we're not really gonna know. So,
I guess my point was, if it costs $100 in a modification, it should be the same as an
yeah,
81P. That was my
Yeah,
real
where's the
point.
81P?
that's Form A, right up top.
Oh, plus 100 per lot. So effectively,
I would either make it
You make
100
it-
per
make it-
lot.
or make
and-
that 200 per
Or make
lot.
that 200 per lot.
of course, the Form A is 200 plus 100 per lot to begin with.
Right.
Whereas this one,
Is 500.
because you don't know the magnitude of what the change would be.
Right.
That's just my suggestion, but.
I mean, I had no problem
Doesn't
changing,
really matter.
changing the Form A to 200 plus 200 per lot, and then they match.
Okay.
The only other place that's 200 per lot is Hopedale.
Any other comments on this?
Thank you, Matt, for putting this together.
Yeah. Definitely an improvement.
So want me to finalize these on the fee schedule and bring them to our next meeting? So we don't have this whole worksheet? Just the changes to add the 200 per lot to Form A and plus legal ad costs for modification of a plan?
Yeah, I guess the only other thing that I had, and we talked about this probably a couple, last meeting when we talked about this, is that, you know, each one of these towns, these are the fees that they charge to do this. Some of these towns charge the applicant with effectively the review costs. This is not the review costs.
Right.
I mean, we have staff that does review based on, you know, we collect $200 and then staff spends 3 days reviewing a plan. Whereas other towns send that out and say, okay, or the review cost is some other factor of that. And that still hasn't been addressed in this, and as we get, based on our other conversations, you know, I'm not as worried about site subdivisions, but as we get into site plan review and redos of existing site plans, because I think that's what we're gonna be looking at over the next decade, and staff is gonna be spending time on that, and to me, that's somewhat dynamic in that, depending on what we have for existing information or stuff, it may actually be more difficult for staff to review an existing site plan for changes than it is to come in with a raw plan. They're gonna even be spending more time than they have previously. Do we wanna take a look at, besides this, what these other towns are doing in terms of actual cost for somebody that submits a site plan or a subdivision plan? I mean, we're doing it, we might as well do them all, whether I think it's a problem or not, going forward. And I think that that's something, I mean, if we're going to do this and make these changes, I think we should probably look at the other one too and say, should we be putting more of that burden on the applicant than staff at the town in terms of the dollars for that?
So, in my opinion, I think that needs to be written into the planning board's rules and regulations.
Yes.
Like our rules, I don't think they call for consultant
No.
services for any review right now.
No.
When I started in Douglas, I took over for the town engineer, so we no longer had a town engineer. We had to change the rules and regulations to say all projects need to go up for 53G for consultant services. In our case, we'd put it under 53E and a half, so that it pays part of the town engineer's salary. So it's just something we need to work out internally.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm, you know, again, that doesn't mean we can't act on this, but I just think if we're doing it, let's look at all of them, and, you know, let's figure out where, how we could also handle that going forward, because I think we should.
Do you think that me taking a look at how many hours I spend on, or trying to keep track of how many hours I spend reviewing something to try and get a cost, or looking at how many hours, I don't know how we would get this number.
My first step, I think, to minimize what either you or Matt would have to do initially would be to find out, and you may know this because you went through it, but what other towns do, whether they just do it as a fixed cost, look, we're going to charge you X, or we're going to actually keep track of hours we've spent, or normally a site plan cost, you know, of this many acres costs, you know, is this long a review? I would assume that, I'd like to know what these other towns, how these other towns do it in terms of is it a fixed dollar amount or not?
I'll tell you from my experience, they don't have staff reviewing it, and
Yeah,
that
they just send out
they just send out, and the applicant's responsible for
the bill,
paying
yeah.
for, you know, that's, I can't recall any time where, in the surrounding towns,
That being said, I don't want to set up something that becomes a, you know, we've got to keep track of your time specifically for, you know, I worked on this project, I did this many, I don't want to get into that. I want to be able to, if we're going to charge an applicant, it's going to be then based on something, size of the parcel
Right.
or whatever, so that, okay, this is what you're going to get charged, and maybe we don't get all the money back. I can understand that, but I'm just thinking I want to start to, or to some level, shift the burden onto the applicant when we do this.
yeah, I guess I wasn't proposing to keep track of it and then try to charge them for that. I guess what I was saying was, if I start now with site plans and keeping track of how many hours I spend reviewing them, then we can get an idea of the average number of hours and come up with the cost that way. I'm perfectly.
Certainly, the information would help, I mean, yeah.
I mean, certainly to your point, yeah, there's incurred costs that needs to be put on to the person that's submitting and needs the plans approved. You know, I would look to the two of you and say, right, yeah.
It's still going to be a lot cheaper for
Right,
them
for
to
them.
have me review it.
I would look to you as a town engineer, as the person that's reviewing, on how best is your time. So is that the flat fee that is in these windows of scope and size, or is it truly tracking your hours? And I think that I would be comfortable with whatever way that you suggest to us, because you're the one doing the work, and you know best how that is going to be able to track within your system.
I don't think that the size of the parcel is really going to be
It's not, it's
equatable to
Okay.
the effort it takes.
not going to be a, you know, you get a size that's twice as large, it takes you twice as long. There's a fixed amount, whether it's 10,000 square feet or 10 acres. There's a fixed amount that no matter what it is, it's going to be there. So you're going to have that plus a fixed amount plus some for, as it gets bigger, that thing goes down a little bit, but there's some dollar value.
Yeah, and I would say, like, how much is, because a lot of, in our case, a lot of it's going to be modifications to a site plan, like, right, the one that you just voted on is, doesn't take very much effort for me. They're not changing anything substantial from an engineering standpoint. It's more from a planning, zoning.
Yeah, but I think the
Standpoint.
one you just did, I would, again, that came in and we approved it as a modification. I think we'd have a different thing than if we had a site plan that came in, whether it's a redo or not, where they're significantly changing what's out there. I think that one would fall under the same, you're gonna take a significant amount of time. But yeah, if it's something that they came back in for and asked for a modification of something, maybe we could consider it under that context.
Modification as opposed to an amended site plan.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. It would be harder to differentiate, but
Yes.
it makes sense to me.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
But we can think about that going forward.
Yeah.
But that's what I would consider.
I mean, you guys have the ability to determine whether or not
Yes.
something is
Yep.
one or the other.
Right.
However, modification.
So I'll make the changes to the fee schedule and put it on our next agenda.
Looks good. Thanks for all the research.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this, if you can start getting us the information, Matt, as to what we would need to do to implement the other stuff going forward too. And you could start tracking, Liz, your times.
I wrote it down.
Okay. As far as the town planner, do you have anything else, Mr. Hoover? All right. And do we have any town engineer updates?
Not that no. Not unless you have any questions.
Yeah. I don't have any updates.
I got a couple of things as
Please.
far as new business. First one, just to make sure I know, Matt said that Larry sent his signature into Registry of Deeds. I don't know that we ever voted on that. I think we should officially vote on that, so that way it's in the meeting minutes that we voted to have Matt sign 81 Ps going to, so I'll make that
I
motion.
did check the previous minutes on that. It voted to have the town planner do it. It wasn't specific to Larry, so it should carry over.
We did?
For the 81 Ps? You're sure for the 81 Ps?
That's what Larry showed me before
Okay.
he signed it.
Okay, as long as you had that. And I had two other,
Check that one off the list.
yeah, two other things that I just think we should look at going forward. One of them was, it's been an issue since we approved it, at least my end, is, and it shows up at Stop and Shop parking lot probably more than anywhere else, but the amount of parking behind a building. And I think to eliminate those issues going forward, and again, I'm doing this because I think we are going to see to some level, changes of use of buildings and having revised site plans and stuff that, at least for, commercial type developments, that we do not, I don't think anyone's going to put them in otherwise, but we don't allow the counting of parking spots behind the building unless there is a physical access for customers to enter through the back of the building, through that side of the building. So we get rid of the fact that we've got 70 parking spots behind Stop and Shop that in the number of years that I've driven down there, I don't think I've ever seen one car there. And we have a situation where the parking out in front through a lot of times is very tight. There's a lot of cars parked there. There isn't that many parking spots open, especially when you get into the fact that we allowed the maximum reduction in parking due to the multiple uses. So I just think we need to take a look at our parking regs again to try to get away. I know it isn't as bad at Coles, but it's a similar situation where there are a number of parking spaces behind it. and I don't know what's coming forward, but I think we need to get away from that. The other one is that, again, getting into this, and it probably manifested itself to me in the car wash down at Planet Fitness, is that I think we need to, for cases where we have a significant amount of change being done, that we need to look at what the anticipated staging plans are for a construction as it moves forward. I don't know that any of us were aware that when we approved the car wash, that we'd be losing a main drive aisle while they constructed it. Nor do we have any say in, which we could have when they first came in, as to how long that would happen, that could go for. So I think that we need to look at site plans, and for those that are modifications to existing sites, we need to understand and need to require that the construction staging plans be submitted with an anticipated duration for each stage.
Gantt chart or something. Okay.
With the parking spaces, I would, just off the top of my head, my thought is that it probably is a lot easier to include that restriction where the board is being asked to reduce the number of spaces by the percentage. Whereas doing it straight off, I think, is going to be, I don't know, it just seems a lot more
Well, no, if our
complicated.
number for the number of spaces is correct, then the fact that if we can, no one parks back there, they never do. So if we're including that because it meets some stupid number in our zoning requirements, then that number is wrong. We should be requiring less parking spaces, because I never see anybody in there.
Result.
So I'm trying to get rid of them if we don't need. So I'm more than willing to look at it and say, but I don't know that we're there now. I think we've gotten better. Maybe we still are high in those numbers to some extent, but I never see anybody there, so I don't want to have parking behind there, to be totally honest. But I certainly don't want to when we've given a reduction. But, if I saw people parking out there, or if there was any, if there was any type of business that actually required their employees to park out back and use those doors, but I've never seen that either. We had this whole thing with Stop and
There.
Shop, they were going to do it, they don't require any of their people to park out back.
There are places that do. There, like the Plaza with Mandarin there. There's employees parked in that back aisle behind the building at times.
Same plaza that Joe's referring to?
No, the old Stop and Shop.
Stop and Shop.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's where I was.
There's parking behind the building or on the side of the building?
No, well, I don't know if they're official parking. I shouldn't say that, right? I don't know if they're official parking spaces, but
Just a
there's.
quick point of order. This would probably be great conversation when we take it up full
Okay.
business-wise. We're just going, no, my apologies, we're just going down a tangent. I see that as this
Yeah.
conversation is going to grow, this is going to be great
Yeah.
conversation when we take it up under an agenda item.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, that's fine. I think I just think we need to talk about those two things.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
We should put it on, it should go on the
Go on an
agenda.
agenda. Parking's a great discussion. Everybody wants to talk about parking.
All right, great.
Parking.
Anything else? Okay.
Buildings and staging plans.
Move to adjourn?
So we're good? Sorry.
Are we?
We have a second?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, no, I was,
Guys, okay,
it's fine.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Nice job, gentlemen.